Mainland FM. Easy listening wherever, whenever.
Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
Alright, it's time for Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Saheed Fuhad. This is the show where we look at, of course, all the major issues in the political space. And of course, today, we will be looking at two very important issues. Yes, it's Political Roundtable, but I think on special days like this, when special issues affecting Nigeria, is happening, we have to look at how to look at those issues, because again, it's not just about politics. We also look at issues of governance. We look at everything that affects Nigerians, and in the spirit of setting the agenda, we make these issues what we consider on the show, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Basically, we are looking at two issues around security in Nigeria, and then the issue of corruption. Yes, I think all through the week, different reports from the kidnappings in parts of Abuja to recent revelations. The new EFCC chairman, Pastor Olukoyede, has been in the news and he's been saying quite a whole lot. Of course, bringing to the fore why it is important that as a people we need to tackle the menace of corruption, the endemic corruption within and out of government. So we've decided that, look, today on the show, we're going to be focusing on insecurity in Nigeria and the problem of corruption in the country as a way of setting the agenda, as a way of also leading us to begin to look at ways of looking for solution to the problems affecting us as a people. So I think it's going to be an interesting ride. Barrister Curtis Adigba, yes. Barrister Curtis Adigba will be joining us via the phone lines from the United States of America. Nuruddin Adegbero is already in the studio with us. So together we will be looking at these two important issues. Like I said, we're looking at the problem of insecurity in the country, and then we're also going to be looking at the problem of corruption. These issues we're going to be looking at, again, not just to dissect what the problem. I think a lot of Nigerians know what the problems are, but it's important that as we look at the problem, we also look at how to get a solution to these two issues. Good evening, Barrister Curtis Adigba. Nice to have you on the show this evening.
Good evening.
All right, it's my pleasure to have you, and I want to thank you so much for your commitment to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And thank you to the listeners too.
Okay. All right. We have Nuruddin Adegbero in the studio. Good evening, Nuruddin. How are you doing?
Good evening, and good evening to our listeners. I'm good.
All right. I was listening to Tommy yesterday, the Yoruba show for people's rights, and I'm sure there's no way we're going to talk about insecurity in Nigeria without talking about some of the things that was reviewed on your show yesterday. I must say it was an eye-opener for me. What was said by the Agbekoya man. I'm sure by Curtis don't know Agbekoya. Do you know the Agbekoyas?
I think there's a traditional cultural group in Yoruba land.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I've heard about them before.
Okay.
They've been, yes.
We had one of their leaders in the studio yesterday, and he talked about. I think he gave a clear picture of the security situation in the southeast.
Yes.
Especially in Imo State. He gave a vivid account of how he himself and his men had gone to Imo State and they were attacked. They were shot at severally. I think two of his men actually lost their life.
Yes.
In that particular incident. But again, we'll somehow get there. There's no way we'll not touch on what
Imo
the man.
State?
Yes, in Imo State. He said Okigwe, right?
Okigwe, yeah.
Yes. And I think what he said was that, look, these are guys who are insisting that they don't want anything Nigeria,
anything police,
and so when they see any vehicle, e-locks or they just attack. They don't want to care. Their mind is that this is a police or a public official.
The IPOP guys.
Yeah, the IPOP guys. Yes, the IPOP guys. And he said, look, they were really armed to the teeth and very intentional about what they were doing. I think he just escaped by the whiskers. He was just lucky. But again, like I said, we'll get there. 2 issues on the roundtable this evening. We're streaming the show live on Facebook, so you can be a part of the show by watching the show live on Facebook and also dropping your comments and contributions to the 2 issues we have on the roundtable. I think we're just on YouTube for now. We'll see. Both platforms are available. Facebook is available. YouTube is also available, so you can actually listen and watch the show on the 2 platforms, on Facebook at Mainland 98.3 FM and also on YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. Now, 2 issues. I will not, because of time, because these 2 issues are very, very important. So I would waive the part of us taking the headlines for today. Let's just go straight to these 2 issues. But I think we need enough time to really dissect these 2 issues. The first one, Nigerians call for restructuring of police security as 5 abducted Abuja sisters regain freedom. I think it's a good one. Somehow after all of the travels and troubles of this family, they've now regained their freedom, but they've lost their elder sister, to these terrorists. Let's just call them what they are. But the question we're going to be asking ourselves on this particular one is, how can we effectively tackle the menace of insecurity in the country now that it has gotten to the point where nobody's safe anywhere in the country? It's not just in the southeast. There's something circulating on WhatsApp as to a particular group of people who I don't know whether we have not really verified it, that there are some people also operating somewhere around Bagada or Oroshorki axis using commercial bus, and also there are also reports in part of Ogun State, your state, even in the southeast. We just talked about Okigwe and some part of Imo State now. So I think we've gotten to the point where we need to make insecurity a major topic of discussion on the roundtable, and that's what we're going to be doing on the show this evening. The second issue for consideration on the roundtable this evening, like I said, the new EFCC chairman has been saying a whole lot. He appeared before the Senate over the week, and he has also been talking tough. I think he also addressed some of his staff members at the EFCC. And what he's saying is that, look, they are now ready to revive 13 cases against ex-governors. 13 cases against ex-governors. And part of what he said during the week was that, look, he did a research over a period of 3 years, and he discovered that, look, 2.9 trillion naira was stolen, and it was just a part of the corruption in this country that he focused on, which was on fraudulent contracts and procurement, and that he discovered that 2.9 trillion naira was lost within 3 years. So we're asking ourselves, how difficult is the fight against corruption in Nigeria now that Pastor Olukoyede seems to be talking tough? He's ready to revive 13 cases against 13 governors. I have the list here by Curtis Nuruddin. I think we can forget some of these cases in a hurry. Some of them came with so much drama at that time. I think one of them would be that of Ayo Fayose. Remember, I came with a vest, from his funny scripture, here I come, blah blah blah, and all of that. So we can. I don't think we can forget that in the hurry. There's also Kayode Fayemi. Yes, Kayode Fayemi also has a pending case before the EFCC. Bello Matawali, that's even fresh in our memories. That was what led to the back and forth between himself and Abdurrashid Bawa. Bello Matawali, the current Minister of State for Defense, at that time had alleged that Abdurashid Bawa, the immediate past EFCC chair, was demanding for $2 million from him, and he said he had evidence.
And he has not shown evidence.
We don't know, because
and the Bawa has not been prosecuted,
and he has been removed from his position. So Bello Matawali's case is still pending. So Pastor Olukoyede may also want to look into that particular case. He's a minister in this current cabinet. We have Chimaroke Namani, the former governor of Enugu State.
First set of cases of corruption under Nuhu Ribadu. So that case is still there. About 5.3 billion naira at that time. I'm sure if we equate it to what the value of that money is now, we could be looking at maybe 20 billion. Yes.
Then we have Sullivan Chime. He's also from Enugu State. His case is still before the EFCC. Abdullahi Adamu, the immediate past chairman of the APC. in Nasarawa State. Rabiu Kwankwanso also has a case before the EFCC, about 10 billion at that time. Then the big one, Peter Odili, the first, the Fourth Republic, First Republic executive governor of Rivers State.
And get another.
That got the perpetual injunction order from the court. So
not to be prosecuted.
And at that time, the money was that huge, 100 billion naira.
Oh, man.
At that time. So, and then we have Theodore Orji of Abia State. We have Danjuma Goje, Gombe State. We have Aliu Wamako from Sokoto State. Timipre Silva from Bayelsa. And then Sule Lamido from I think at some point.
How come Uzo Kalu is not there?
Well, at least let us start from this one. So again, Barrister Curtis Adigba, the new EFCC chair says, look, the commission is looking into reviewing and opening the cases against these former governors, and that's on one side. And he has also said that, look, he's also did a research. I think we need to take that because so that people will understand why we've decided to focus on this particular issue. This report by the EFCC chairman, Pastor Olukoyede, just highlights the problem of corruption in the country and why nothing gets done. Why we keep complaining that there's no light, there's no road, there's no health care, there's no quality education. So let's just take this report and then we'll start the conversation. It's still Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. We have Barrister Curtis Adigba on the phone lines and we have Nuruddin Adegbero in the studio. So let's go straight to the issue. The new EFCC chairman, Pastor Ola Olukoyede, says about 2.9 trillion meant for some government projects was diverted into personal use by contractors between 2018 and 2020. Mr. Olukoyede disclosed this recently when he appeared before the Senate for screening. The upper chamber confirmed him after the exercise, but again, he had to say a lot of things about himself and his capacity to deliver on the job. And he says, I did a survey between 2018 and 2020 on 50 entities in Nigeria, both human and corporate entities. I picked just one scheme, one species of fraud, which is called contract and procurement fraud. So just one aspect of fraud. There are so many others, but he did on this alone. I discovered that within the 3 years, Nigeria lost 2.9 trillion naira. According to the EFCC chair, he said the funds were stolen during the period under review, and that all of these funds would have been used or useful for government projects if the former authorities of the anti-corruption agency had prevented it from being diverted. So indicting the capacity of the leaders of the commission before him. And so what he says is that, look, when I put my figures together, I discovered that if the country had prevented the money from being stolen, it would have given us 1,000 kilometers of road. It would have built close to 200 standard tertiary institutions. It would have also educated about 6,000 children from primary to tertiary levels at 16 million naira per child. And that it would have also delivered more than 20,000 units of 3-bedroom houses across the country. It would have given us a world-class teaching hospital in each of the 36 states of the country and the Federal Capital Territory. This is where we are coming from. This is where we are. Where we are going, it depends on the decision the Senate will take this afternoon. Let's just start from here. He said a whole lot of things about what he intends to do as EFCC chairman, the new things in bringing to the table. Let me start with you, Barrister Curtis Adigba. The new EFCC chair is talking tough, making promises, saying a whole lot of things that he now wants to do when it comes to tackling corruption in the country. But let me ask you how difficult it is to tackle corruption in the country.
All right, thanks for having me, and good evening to the listeners once again. This is not a new movie. This is a movie we have seen before. You recall that from 2003, when the EFCC was established, starting from Nuhu Ribadu up and until up to the last one now, what's his name? Abu Rashid Bawa, the EFCC itself had lacked independence and to some extent the integrity and honesty required of a body like it. First and foremost, you have a body that is appointed by a political leadership, that being the president and the Senate. Of course, you know that in our country, the National Assembly does not exercise some independent powers because of how the leadership of that body is always elected or chosen by whoever is the president and his group. So you have an EFCC chairman who is hired by the president and can be fired by the president, okay? And you look at it critically, you see that from Nuhu Ribadu up until
Rashid Bawa,
all the chairmen of EFCC had problem, and they were removed under some cloudy circumstances. The case of Ibrahim Lamode, up to today, we don't even know what happened. He just escaped. Nobody knows if he's back in the country. Of course, you know that Farida Waziri was removed. Yeah, we had our own troubles. Ribadu had his own troubles. And the most recent one, of course, who was never confirmed as EFCC chairman, Ibrahim Magu, who was there for almost 6 years, the longest serving so far, and yet was never confirmed, also had his own issue. And up to now, we don't even know what happened in his case. I once wrote a small note to President Buhari. I said, what should I say to Ibrahim Magu when I see him at the airport or anywhere? Should I say to him, oh, great man, great servant of Nigeria, or should I just refer to him as a crook who paraded himself as a saint? Of course, I didn't get any reply, and I did not expect any reply. But again, he got away with it. So, the reason why I say this is a movie we have seen before is because all the men you mentioned, apart from Peter Odili, right?
Yes.
With corruption cases on their heads, I mean, they were all promoted to higher positions in Nigerian political system. Chimaroke Nnamani, until recently was a senator, right?
Yes. After being a governor, yes.
After being a governor. Timothy Silva was under investigation, in fact was facing trial in the court when he was appointed Minister of State for Petroleum. Oju Akalu was in the Senate and is still in the Senate. At some point, he was sent to jail, but the Supreme Court quashed that conviction. Okay?
Yes.
Theodore Oji was in the Senate. Daniel Magoji was in the Senate, was still there. Wamako is in the Senate.
Yes.
The Senate President Akpabio, who was on trial for 100 billion fraud, is now the President of the Senate. So you have a system that promotes those who are facing corruption charges.
Bello
Matawali, of course, now the Minister of State for Defense. And just 2 days ago, some people who gathered in Abuja to demand for his prosecution were arrested by the security agencies in Nigeria. So there is no system of deterrence that prevents anyone from stealing. In fact, if you finish serving in any capacity in Nigeria and the EFCC did not invite you to come and give account, you do not have a badge of honor in the Nigerian context. That's why a man like Ayofaro said we go the whole hog of acquiring a t-shirt to say I'm coming.
Where I am, EFCC.
They know this. They know that this is just a joke and that nothing will come out of it. Do you understand?
I'm with you.
Now, what about those who were under investigation by the same body and they are now in charge of the same body? What is going to come out of that? Have you asked yourself why the same EFCC has over 98% conviction rate against Yahoo boys and other crimes in the country, but they have less than 1% success rate against politicians and political office holders? The only two that were convicted at some point former governor of Taraba State, Jolly Nyame,
and Joshua Dariye,
and former governor of Plateau State, Dariye,
yes.
And in President Buhari's wisdom at some point, based on the recommendation of the Attorney General, he granted them a pardon.
Yeah.
Other than these people, tell me who and who. So this is like the move by the new EFCC chairman, who is also entirely new to the system because he was secretary of the same body.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the periodic pronouncement made by new IGPs. Once you have a new police officer, police IGP will come and say, from next week, all personnel will be withdrawn from private citizens, security personnel.
From VIPs.
But from VIPs, but we know all those things are just for them to go to scamper to go and settle. Have you seen anybody withdrawn before?
Mm-hmm.
And if they are going to withdraw at all, it's from the low level people.
Or roadblocks will be removed from the roads.
Yes, and then after 1 week, all the blocks will be back. So the point here is that I have not seen any real appetite for fighting corruption, and that is because the Nigerian people themselves do not even support the fight against corruption. Because you know, in Nigeria, corruption is either a northerner or a southerner. It's also either a Christian or a Muslim. And when you drill down further, it becomes either a Doma man, a Yoruba man, Hausa, Igbo. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
So when somebody is accused of corruption, these are the things you hear. Oh, is it because he's a Yoruba man? Is it because he's a Christian? What about the other people who are also stealing in government? Oh, this is a witch hunt. And I'm saying, what is wrong with hunting someone who has agreed that is a witch? If a witch is a witch, what is wrong with witch hunting him? So this is why. Because there is actually no support for fighting corruption in our country. What people, and we don't hate corruption as a people. What we hate is that we are not the people benefiting from that corruption. When we benefit, we tend to rationalize it, either as a miracle or as a breakthrough. And so let's tell ourselves the truth. And then you find that those who are in government, whose actions should be looked at and who should be held to account, right?
Yes.
Understand that because the Nigerian people are not averse to corruption, they continue to do it. You don't have to like him. But Rotimi Amechi, former governor of Rivers State and former minister, it's been quoted so many times talking about corruption. He said, look, in Nigeria, when you say you are not corrupt, people will just look at you. Nobody asks you how you made your money from government, when government is not a business. He said, if you are opposed to corruption, have you ever challenged us? Have you ever disgraced us in public events? Are you not the same set of people that encourage that will be given chieftaincy title? Are you not the one that celebrates us? Do you understand? Just like he said yesterday again, by saying, why do young people want to leave Nigeria to go to other countries where they will have 9 to 5 job? When in Nigeria you can go to bed a poor man, wake up a billionaire the next morning.
Emergency billionaires, like the VP put it.
Yes.
Former VP of Shiba.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He said, when in Nigeria you can go to bed a nobody, wake up tomorrow a minister because you know somebody in government. So these are the challenges before Pastor Olukoyede.
Yes.
Now, Olukoyede must also understand that some of the people that is going to be up against are political frontmen of the president today. Nnamani, of course, we know was in PDP,
but a friend to the
but
president.
He was campaigning openly for the president against his own party's candidate, right? So what you are looking at, from my own personal opinion, corruption has a better chance of defeating the war against corruption in Nigeria
than the war against corruption itself.
Because there is nothing on the ground to suggest that we're serious about fighting corruption. It's all a periodic dance.
Let me cut in a bit. Yeah. How would the Pastor Olukoyede, for example, open a case against the Senate President Godswill Akpabio? How is he going to open a case against Bello Matawalle, who is now the current Minister of State for Defense? How is he going to open a case against Nyesom Wike, the current FCC, until, so is this just because he wanted the confirmation of the Senate, he said all of this? He doesn't really have, yes.
Can open his diary containing these cases.
Yes.
He will not get anything out of it. Let me tell you. You see, people say, "Oh, you are so what do they call it? Pessimistic." I'm old enough to know when this is a game. You remember that one of the reasons why Wike fought so hard to make Fubara the governorship candidate of the PDP was because Fubara had been declared wanted by the same EFCC before.
Yes.
And he felt that if he became the governor, he will acquire immunity. And for the next 8 years, possibly, nobody will talk about him, right? Now, Wike no longer has immunity. As EFCC invited him one day to answer to anything, you talked about Akpabio. You know how the president fought so hard against Senator Yari.
Yes,
for Akpabio to emerge as a president of the Senate. You know the robust relationship between the president and the Senate and the president of the Senate. What do you think will happen? Let me take you back to 2015. You remember when the former president gave the go-ahead for Bukola Saraki, the then president of the Senate, to be arraigned for corruption?
Yes, at the CTC.
What happened? The senators at that time interpreted the move to mean that the entire Senate was on trial.
And they shut down the Senate to follow him to court.
Every time he was going to that tribunal for that case,
40 senators,
will leave the National Assembly to take senators with him to the Code of Conduct Tribunal. So that is the way we see corruption. We couldn't distinguish between the individual that was Bola, that was Saraki, okay, and the institution of the Senate of Nigeria. We just felt that because the president of the Senate was on trial for corruption, the entire Senate was on trial. So Olukoyede is not going to go out. It's not going to make a concrete and serious effort to go against the president of the Senate and to go against Matawalle. In fact, a country that is serious about corruption, none of these two people we have mentioned, none of those who are facing corruption trial will make the government. But you know the argument in Nigeria, which is part of the default rationalization, no court of law has convicted them. And I will say this, there is no public officer. Majority, 99% of our public officers, if not more, none of them can hold up their hands and swear to Songo that they have not stolen from the government.
Let's not bring Songo into it, Vice Curtis.
No, I'm saying this because you see, the God of the Bible and the God have become so kind that even while they are swelling using their names, they are still stealing.
We should not.
So we have to give them something that they are afraid of now.
Like Songo.
Yes, that will give them.
And Songo will fight. The problem with Songo is that he will not fight only those people that use it to cause themselves. Yeah. Even their family will also benefit.
But you know, because you know how people are so entrenched in this corruption that they can even manipulate this Songo process. What do you think?
It's possible they can bribe Songo the way it's going.
Because he's a deity, he has what he eats. They will overload it with a lot of.
And somebody is in charge.
Yeah, somebody is in charge.
Okay. I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back to you, Barrister Curtis. Yeah, but Nuruddin, the EFCC chairman, Mr. Olukoyede, has also assured that his administration as chairman of the EFCC will be transparent and accountable. He has assured that, look, under me, all of the stories of corruption within the EFCC. In fact, he admitted to the fact that, look, while even addressing his staff at the EFCC office, that look, a lot of his officials collect bribe, to model up cases, to water down cases and mess up cases, and that look, under him, zero tolerance to corruption by officials of the EFCC. He also said he will introduce a transactional credit system that will prevent Nigerians from purchasing luxurious properties by cash in order to be able to monitor financial transactions of some individuals. And this is the way he put it. He said, look, without downplaying the importance of enforcement, there's what we call transactional credit system. If we continue to allow Nigerians to buy houses, cars, and other luxurious properties by cash because we don't have an effective credit system, 1,000 anti-corruption agencies will not do us any good. And that is the reality. We must create an atmosphere that makes sure that people have choices. If I don't steal money, can I afford to train my children in school? Blah blah blah. He's talking about the credit system where big transactions are not done using cash and all of that. So like I said, he's making so many promises, but you trust that? Look, he could just bring in something magical that would make the fight against corruption more effective and then productive. Different from what we've been seeing.
Well, Olukoyede could have a very good mind that really wants development. But there are some challenges that are impeded in what is applicable. Number one is this. Look, in Nigeria, there are some certain people that are bigger than law. So if you think there are some people are not bigger than law, they are bigger than law, and nothing will happen. So he has to really work with those people, and there is no way he wants to really work on them because they are too powerful. But Sarkozy has listed Akpabio. There are a lot of people. In fact, there are some people that are not even Senate president in that Senate. EFCC cannot touch them, and nothing will happen. Another thing again is in the issue of even cash that he talks about.
Yes.
There are some transactions that forget it. Even if they don't do it in dollar, if they don't do it in naira, they will do it in dollar. They will do it in pounds. In fact, the big men don't do that kind of business in naira again. They will not take 10 billion naira to go and buy house cash. No, now when dollars is there, how many dollars does it have to take to make it 1 billion naira? So automatically, it's just to me, it's new.
And he needs to say something.
And he needs to say something, and the body language should also say something. With the glory of God, I have been a shorty to somebody in the EFCC office, and I know what happened in my presence. And at times, that's why what is important there is that he needs to first of all start from the staffers of EFCC.
His own,
he needs to start from them. He needs to start from them. Then another thing again that he really needs to work on is this: the way EFCC officers are going after yahoo boys. I love it. Fantastic. It's good. But I want them to be going after politicians the same way. But does he has the political will to lead by that particular line? This is 2024. Some certain governors left the seat in 2023. We want to see a situation in which they will all be asked questions. Those people that left before them, we need to ask questions from them, how they've been able to manage the resources of the people at that particular time. Then another thing again is this: he should not put himself as a member of any political party. It's very, very important. He should not put himself as a member of any political party. And that's why you see that and these politicians they have a kind of way in which whatever any system they get into, they want to divide it and sabotage everything. That's why you see, if politician is part of a religious group, they want to pick the chief imam, they will pick the mufassir, they will pick everybody. If they are a member of a Christian whatever, they are the one that want to pick the general overseer. They are the one they want to pick these
they just want to dominate everything.
They want to dominate everything. So if he allows, because there are a lot of staffs, have you ever seen advertisement where they are advertising people that work for EFCC? It is true, who know people, and these people are the politicians we are talking about. Then another thing again is that I think Olukoyede could be coming from a new tactics that is operating in the other countries, but in our own country it won't work. The reason there is that those people that you want to use as gatekeepers for corruption, they are also pipe
to corruption.
In fact, they are conduits to to link in with every pipe of corruption, and it's going to be very difficult. And he needs to look at the civil service. He needs to look at the civil service. How could somebody that is in level 10 will have an estate, and somebody that is a permanent secretary cannot even boast of CRP? So he needs to look at, because he needs to look holistically
at the issue.
Because the one that is speaking, one politician, the 2.9 trillion naira that he talks about, that one is even chicken change.
No, he said one part, and
we know it's just
one part here.
But one thing there that he needs to know is this: how we've seen in this particular country, a company that was registered in a year. Government gave the job of billions of naira to that company in a year. The company that has never collected any contract.
No, we've seen one that didn't have a website.
It doesn't have. There's one that doesn't have location self. Yes, I've investigated a particular company that is into petrochemicals and collected job from the Nigerian government, and they are using 2-bedroom flats. Inside that 2-bedroom flat is only 3 staff that is there: front desk, cleaner, and somebody that stand as security guard.
This is just consulting. You know, we have a lot of consultants.
So one thing there is that I must confess. Then in Nigeria, there are 3 sets of people that are eating deep into corruption. 1, the politicians that we are talking, they are in 1K down, and all those people in public office. 2, there are some certain people, they've not been in power, but they are warming up to steal from the system. In fact, those numbers are more than those people that are currently stealing.
They are also positioning themselves.
They are positioning themselves that God, just give me the position. You go reach my turn. I will steal more than what these ones are stealing. And those ones are many more than. Then the third one are the younger ones. There are some younger ones, they believe that you cannot make it in life if you don't steal. If you are not corrupt, they don't believe that. There is no way.
So you think a form of reorientation.
It is very, very important that he needs to launch a very good crusade, and he needs to partner with media organizations, because whether we like it or not, this thing is getting deeper. How can you rate a primary 5 student doing yahoo? We're in trouble.
We'll get there. We'll get there. I agree with you that I think we need to now look at advocacy. We need to look at sensitization and all of that. Barrister Curtis, you talked about the fact that, look, even in the process of appointing the leadership of the EFCC, we have a problem. Because, again, is appointed by the president, who has a lot of political cronies and associates who have different cases. And how is he going to develop the balls and the willpower to go after people who, because again, if the president has the power to appoint, he also has the power to remove. Yes, Senate must confirm and all of that, but the reality is that, look, the buck largely still stops at the desk of the president. So that's on one part. But the chairman of the EFCC now also talked about the role of the judiciary, and what he said is that look, justice to be delivered on fraud allegations and corruption cases, judges must look beyond technicalities when deciding judgments. And he recommended that cases on fraud allegations should not exceed more than 5 years from the High Court to the Supreme Court. Now, what is the role? Like I said, you've highlighted the fact that even in appointment, we have issues. You know, when the president is the one appointed, we came based on our own peculiarities. But let us look at the judiciary, which the EFCC chairman has also now, in a way, indicted. As a lot of times, these politicians, like you said, you know, when corruption cases are held against them, they go to courts with so much confidence, and a lot of times they are set free on technicalities. I think Ojus or Kalu's case is one example. So, what can be the role of the judiciary, and what can we do to have a justice system that can ensure that, you know, the fight against corruption is not just a mirage, it's something that can be won?
Okay, so you know the judiciary is always the punching bag of both politicians and the Nigerian people themselves. So, I mean, there's nothing new in what the new EFCC chairman is saying.
Okay.
However, I agree with him to some extent, because we've also seen and heard of some judgments and rulings of the court that are very disturbing. One of it, of course, you understand that the Supreme Court had ruled in the past that the federal government actually does not have the power to arrest and try former governors. That the power to investigate those governors belong to the State House of Assemblies, where they come from, all right?
Yes.
And of course, you and I know that there is no governor while sitting that can be investigated by the House of Assembly because a result of the immunity they have. And that is one of the reasons why when the governor is about leaving office, he will fight so hard to impose one of his lackeys on the state, who will then go on to protect him. You understand?
And where with you?
So, as we talk, like I observed before, corruption is not on the exclusive legislative list. But do you hear of any state government fighting corruption? The only time you hear about it is when the successor to the former governor and the governor falls apart. And then they needed to make a case. They constitute a small group of people to investigate, and then they say they come out with a white paper. And the only punishment the former governor gets is to be banned from holding public office, elected public office for 10 years. He goes on appeal, and the matter is set aside. Okay, so that's it. Now, so you cannot also look at completely and say, oh, the judiciary have not played a role. And in the sense that, you know, when evidence that the court will use to convict Yahoo boys and other criminals, the same set of evidence against politicians will fail. Why? Because you see, when the case is taken to court and evidence is adduced before the judge, right? The duty of attaching weight to the evidence, and to use it to rule in favor or against,
is at the discretion of the
duty of the judge. So the judge can choose to attach less weight to the right evidence, and that's where we talk about corruption coming in, or influence or manipulation of the system. But other than that, there is also the problem of a shoddy job by the prosecutors. And then there is the case of technicalities that the courts are resorting to instead of substantial justice that the Supreme Court has talked about. Even the Supreme Court did the same thing in the Bukola Saraki case, where the court went on the path of technicality instead of the real issue, instead of doing substantial justice on the matter. So to that extent, the EFCC chairman is right that the court somehow constitutes as a hindrance. But the other thing we must not lose sight of is our extant law. Now, you understand that in other parts of the world, and let me cite the example of the United Kingdom and explain to you a phenomenon that is happening right now. The United Kingdom, facing a barrage of this kind of criminal activities, enacted a new law called Unexplained Wealth Order, UWO, that shifted the burden of proving act of corruption from the government to the holder of the wealth. So if you brought 3 billion, 4 billion, or you bought very expensive houses in the United Kingdom,
you have to explain how you get the money, how you got the money.
The onus is on you to explain how you got the money, not on the government to explain that you stole the money.
So the burden of proof is on the accused now.
Yes, that's why you see many of our politicians are running from the United Kingdom now to Paris and France, where they are going to buy their properties now and going for holidays more, because the French government has not enacted such a law yet. Now, in Nigeria, of course, if you allege that someone is corrupt, right, and that he stole money, public money from somewhere, the onus is on the government to prove that yes, money is missing from a particular place in government, right?
Yes.
And that the person who stole it, had bad intention and he wanted to keep it for himself. And that itself is illegal. But beyond all this that we have talked about, okay, when somebody has stolen so much money, he has so much war chest against the system, he can hire the best lawyers in the country, he can hire the most connected lawyers in the country who have judges as friends, and and give them funds. Do you understand?
Yes.
To ensure that the case is compromised. I think I've told this story in your studio before of a late justice of the Court of Appeal. We're traveling together, and when she asked me what I do for a living, and I told her that, oh, I'm a lawyer and all that, and he said, well, I hope you are not like one of those people destroying our country. And I said to her, what happened, man? She told me a story how she was a member of a panel that was sitting over a governorship appeal case, 3 of them, and how this senior lawyer visited her on Sunday morning with a Ghana must go bag loaded with dollars and wanted her to support them. And when she said no, the man should go away with the money, he said, if you don't want the money, go give it to charity. And she said, you saw charity before coming to my house. Take your money before I report you to the Chief Justice of Nigeria. And the man said to her, ma'am, you are only cheating yourself. We have already secured the other 2 justices. So whether you support us or not, we will win. She said when she got to the court during the judgment to be read, right, the other 2 justices were behaving strange. Behaving strangely and acting strangely, and they couldn't reason together. The 2 of them went one way and she went the other way based on the evidence that they had. So this is real, and that is why when we look at the appointment of the chairman, like said another member
chairman,
look at the internal corruption itself that the EFCC chairman has adjudged to. And then the people that you are asking him to investigate are the ones who sit over the board of the organization. Like the case of Abuja now, you recall that Bukola Saraki, apart from refusing to confirm Ibrahim Magu, they also refused to approve the budget of the EFCC.
Yeah. Yes.
Because they say it didn't have a validly constituted what is it called now?
Board.
A panel or whatever it is called, you know. So this is why, and then, like we also talked about the court, you recall how the president tried to avoid state governors criminally appropriating local government funds.
Yeah.
When he signed Executive Order 10 and then Executive Order 11.
To a standstill.
The governors led by Fayemi then challenge the action of the president at the Supreme Court.
And they won.
And of course, you know what the Supreme Court said the president has no such powers. So this is where we are. And the people themselves, because nobody is afraid of stealing public money because they don't see it as anybody's money. But let me anchor this point by saying that I would have loved more for the president and his government to concentrate their efforts in making it very hard for people to gain access to public funds. Right now is all too easy. Look at the better edu issue. Is it better edu case? Yeah. Do you know that you and I would not have heard it if the accountant general did not refuse to transfer the money?
Yes.
It would have just been easy. It's gone.
The former accountant general accused of stealing 109 billion. Do you know we would not have heard about it if it wasn't for his marriage to a very young girl whose parents objected and whose uncle had to alert the president that your accountant general is buying properties all over the country, even bought a property for 500 million and demolished it in Kano.
But Mr. Curtis, that particular case, Ahmed Idris is his name.
Yes.
We've not heard anything about that case.
And nothing will happen.
This is what I told you, that this is an old movie. There's nothing new to it. It's just a matter of give some to the boys, let them talk about.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm going to get back to you, Nuruddin. Are we in a hopeless situation when it comes to the fight against corruption in the country? Is it a hopeless situation?
Fuhad. There is nothing.
You should understand what
I understand that there is nothing that is totally hopeless. But in our own case,
we can still win the war.
But in our own case, there are some 3 M's that we need to rewind
and review completely,
and it's going to be very, very difficult. If we can do that, I'm telling you, we can be on the track, because the foundation that we've laid, we started very well in 2003 when EFCC Act 2004 was put together. Although at the long run there are a lot of amendment, but one thing there is this: now the foundation is faulty. Now 3 hems that we need to put together. The first one is the men in EFCC,
the personnel generally.
The personnel, are they ready to do the work? Are they not also corrupt? Because when you have a corrupted mind that wants to fight corruption that has been put together by another corrupt person, what is going to happen is that money is going to exchange hands.
So corruption can't fight corruption.
Corruption cannot fight corruption.
All right.
So then 2 is that the men in EFCC, are they ready in all ramification to save this country from the other men siphoning our funds? The way they run after the Yahoo boys, can they run after
can use the same energy
to fight the politician, public office holder, the civil servants? If they can do that, then we are going to be on the very good track. Then the second M is the money. Can EFCC officials live within the limit of what they earn, so that they can also have the ability and capacity to even fight those people that are living beyond their own means? So because a situation in which in Nigeria everybody is worshipping money, in which people that is a civil servant that is collecting 100,000 naira per month want to have house in Lekki. So if you have that kind of thinking and ideology in those men in EFCC that wants to fight corruption, and those people that are corrupted minded people that will use the resources, part of what they've stolen, to induce those people that wants to fight them, then the other one, it has to do with the materials. How many are the EFCC officials?
Do we have men on ground?
They don't have offices across the country. In fact, there are some certain, it's all zona. Then, if we are still putting EFCC majorly in the hands of the police, we are in trouble. The same police that was also rated as the most corrupted agency.
Well, this man is not from the police, at least for the first time.
He's not from the police, yes, fine. But go and see the number of hierarchy of those people working in police.
Within the system.
Within the system. Okay, those people in the enforcement. Who are those people that are in the enforcement? Those people is only doing the investigative whatever.
Part of it.
That is the only one. Look at the research that the man said he did within the frame of 2 years. How come that report he cannot give it to the chairman of the EFCC at that particular time to work on?
Because he was a part of the EFCC.
Because he was a part of the EFCC.
Secretary of the commission.
And the secretary of the commission.
I think that was with Magu. That was Magu era.
Yes. So automatically, what is important there is that the materials on ground to work with.
This is not even adequate.
We need more officers. They need more tech. Fine. They are sending them to training, but we need more technology. Then another thing again is this: the body language of the Mr. President. As bad as we think some certain ministers under President Muhammadu Buhari, you remember that it was only 3 ministers that was changed. One, Ocholi, that one died through an accident.
The man from Kogi State.
Then you remember the one of Saleh Mohammed, the one that is the minister of power that only have 3 major power projects at that particular time, and 2 he put it in his local government, and nothing happened as we speak. He has 2 in his local government. Then the whole Nigeria will share the remaining one. Then you remember Sabo Danono, the former minister of agriculture. Instead of giving seedlings, giving fertilizer, he built mosques with money from the Ministry of Agriculture for the farmers.
So that they can pray, so that
when they finish from that, they will come and pray.
When you plant, you have to pray.
They will not go. It's planned
for good yield.
So now, what we did not see under the administration of Buhari, we are now seeing it. If somebody within 8 months can have the gates, can have the allegations, and so that if you use 4 years, what will happen?
You are talking about better.
Yes, and there are some certain other ones that are not exposed as we speak. So the body language of the president now is going to matter if he really wants to fight corruption, he needs to start from the governors. Don't collect money from local government again. So if he can try to structure that, they can still collect money from local government, but they will collect it from the official thing that even if EFCC want to track, they will be able to have something to track.
All right, Barrister Curtis, you and I had this conversation before the show.
I suppose our conversation.
Yeah, but I'm going to bring this part of that conversation on radio, and we said it again. Nobody does anything without something motivating them to do it. The same thing with bad behavior. There must be a motivation for bad behavior.
Yes.
The same thing, there are motivation for good behavior.
Yes.
So let us look at the average Nigerian, whether in politics, in civil service, in public service, in business. But let's narrow it down majorly to even the public service, politics, civil service. Why? What's the old thing? Somebody told me one day, an old man in his late 80s, and he said that, look, what's dear to life that you come into the world, okay, at the end of the day you go to school, you graduate, you get a job, at the end of the day maybe you buy a car, you marry a wife, you have maybe 2 or 3 kids or 4 depending on what you look out for, you build a house, and by the time you aggregate all of your activities in life, you're already old.
What happened now?
And then the next thing, death comes. And so he says he doesn't understand why there's this this race and this quest for unbridled acquisition of wealth in the country. Why is everybody scampering, to get everything and anything still, why are people so invested in corruption? To what end? Let me just put it that way, Barrister Curtis.
Well, I don't know the world in which the man who spoke with you lives, but he must be living in his own unique world. And that is the reality world. Do you understand? You and I understand that even the very wealthy people have no regard for wealth so much. Beyond the point that they are counted as among the wealthiest in the world. There's nothing else they are doing with the money, and that's why you see people. You
remember that even a deputy had said that there was a day he went to the bank and said, "Just give me $10,000. Let me just touch it." So why are people stealing? What's the motivation for all this? You see,
people, it's just simply avarice, greed, nothing more. You see people like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and all that coming together to raise so much funds to go out there and help the poor people of
Charity.
the world. Now, but I think we must get one thing right. There is no country in the world where there is no penchant or where people do not have the appetite to commit crime or steal public funds.
Yes.
What the difference between these countries and our own country is that they know that when you are caught, you will be dealt with. And because nobody wants to face that shame, all right, if they can avoid it, people are extremely careful in involving themselves in these things. Let me give you an example of a few countries. Of course, we've been told about the Chinese system.
Yes.
Whereby if you are arrested, your trial might last for 1 week. You are dispatched. If you are either going to serve to life jail, or you probably will be executed, depending on what the sentence of that court will be. Okay?
Yes.
Now, look at the US, for instance. You have a sitting president being actively investigated with his son. And right now, he's going to face trial. That's Hunter Biden. And the president has no power to stop the system from going ahead to prosecute his own son. You saw how the former President Trump tried to hinder the system from allowing the then newly elected President Biden from coming in. And you see how he's been prosecuted now all over the country for the January 6th activities of his supporters. And for attempting to tamper with the election processes in Georgia, in Michigan, and some other states. Do you see a situation where the son of the president today can be arrested in Nigeria by EFCC and put on trial for anything?
In Nigeria?
Yes, that's the question I'm asking.
It won't happen.
Is it possible?
It's not possible, at least for now.
Is it possible for the House of Assembly of any state, now that they have the power to investigate corruption in their states, to investigate the son of a sitting governor
and put him on trial?
What will happen? The people responsible will either be recalled, or the agency or government responsible, the people there will be sacked. Now, why are they able to do these things outside of the country and we are not able? Look at Boris Johnson. When he was Prime Minister, he held a party after he had imposed curfew on certain activities. As Prime Minister, he was under investigation until he had to resign. Now, the question is, why are these things possible outside the shores of Nigeria and they are almost impossible in Nigeria? It is because the organizations responsible for carrying out these things are not free. You know, when we were talking before the show, we also talked about even elections.
Yes.
We talked about how it is government that releases the fund to INEC to carry out its operations. And I told you that in the United States here, the body like INEC, okay,
yes,
which is the Federal Electoral Commission, does not even conduct elections. Elections are conducted by state officials who are partisans themselves. They are either Republicans or Democrats or independents. And you ask me, how is it that in spite of their partisanship, they are able to ensure that the process runs fairly and smoothly? To the extent that the candidate they supported lost in some states. And I told you it's because of the system, the way the system is programmed, right?
Yes.
You know that when you tamper with the system, you pay a huge price. Nobody wants to face that kind of situation. So, these are the things we should look at. First and foremost, if you want the EFCC to fight corruption, you have to immune the EFCC from political interference. The way the chairman of the EFCC and other supporting officers are appointed to their position has to be reviewed. You also have to look at the body, the staffing of the organization. Like Nuruddin pointed out, Nigerians themselves have said the police is the most corrupt institution of government in Nigeria. Now, when you transfer police officers from the police force to the EFCC, is there a process that changed them automatically from who they were when they were in the police and that in the EFCC? So the chairman will be on top of the pyramid, even if it's good, right?
Yes.
But he doesn't do all the investigation himself. The guys who go out to break doors of people so when they cannot arrest them, like you saw the drama in the Korocha's case.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything from there again? Jesus, come and save me. Jesus, I said, why is this man even putting up this drama, knowing that nothing will happen to him?
I didn't even add Okorocha's case to the list.
There are some people there are a lot of
cases that guy won't remember.
There are lots now.
So you see the point that I'm making?
Yes.
So we have to also look at there's nothing that says you cannot bring people who have integrity, who have the knowledge, who have the talent to come and join the EFCC and help to move the body forward. There's nothing that says, oh, the staffers of EFCC must be former police officers. Yes, I know the position of the chairman talks about somebody who has served in the military or paramilitary, but not for staffing.
But by
basic staffing.
Yeah, but by psychology, I'd like us to discuss before we move to the issue of insecurity, and then we'll open up our phone lines for contributions from our listeners. Whether we like it or not, we need to talk about how corruption rubs off negatively on our electoral process. Again, I wanted to draw that out from the issue of motivation. Why people are motivated to just steal recklessly, they just want to pack everything. Because again, you see some corruption cases and you are wondering, what do you want to do with this money? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to buy the whole of the country? Is there a planet somewhere you want to settle? So what's it about the electoral system that keeps motivating people to steal money?
Okay, so if you are a politician, okay,
yes,
you know that money is the name of the game. I told you of how a senator told me that no matter how good you are to your people, no matter how much goods you deliver to them, right? While serving them, if you do not have money to give them during the election, you will lose the election. You remember the case of the former senator from Ekiti, who told the people, I bought your votes, you didn't vote for me, stop disturbing me.
Yes, yeah.
You remember? So now politicians understand that money is the name of the game. And so, and I'm not saying only politicians are corrupt, okay? But then, so there's the need to have more money than what they need. Now the second point is the fact that human beings by nature are greedy. I don't know if you have heard that it's only human beings that kill when they are not hungry. You know, the lion will not kill if he's not hungry.
Just
the lion can prowl the forest and be looking at antelopes. In fact, we have even seen videos of tigers playing with little antelopes here and there. You understand? Because when they are not hungry, they will kill. But when the human being has no need and he sees the opportunity to steal, especially in our country, they will steal. Because they just want to keep it so that they have the confidence that they have XYZ in the bank. It doesn't matter. We heard of cases of Nigerians who had money died and their children or their family had no access to the funds. But they don't care. And this has to go down to the values that we have in the society. Of course, you know Nigeria.
Value system, yeah.
The value system is so monetized. If a young man today sees a lady and he says he wants to marry her, for most ladies, the first question is, does he have money? If a young man, of course, for those who have become gold diggers, like I say that men are now the gold diggers more than women, they are also looking at young girls and say, does she have a job? What has she got to do?
Does she have money?
Does she come from a rich family? Go to a police station, and I'm telling you my personal experience. I went to special fraud unit Mibati one day, and I was driving a Camry with my driver. My friend was driving a G-Wagon, and he was in our front. We got to the gate. They opened the gate for my friend. He told me to go and look for somewhere to park outside. That there was no space for my own car. So the next time we were going again, my friend had his G-Wagon, and I had my own car that they thought was presentable. When we got to the gate, they opened for my friend.
They say
as soon as he drove in, they also opened for me and saluted for me.
Okay. You brought something.
What has changed? Because I brought something that they thought was big enough to show that I'm a big man. So that is the society. So people going to government, they see that this is an opportunity to make money. Meanwhile, government is not a business. No honest people. You cannot find honest people making money from government. That's what the former US president said, that only crooks go into government to make money. Then finally, let me tell you that most Nigerians today see government as the biggest business in town.
Yeah.
Because you see a man who is struggling with you, he gets elected to a public position or get appointed to a public position, and in the next 2 months, his fortune changed significantly, and he will never be poor thereafter. What has he done? Has he reaped? Reaped dividends from his investment or dividends of democracy for himself?
Money, yeah.
That's it.
All right.
So that's the truth.
Yeah, but Sakoti, let's go to the second issue, which is on insecurity. I think we have some good news to work with. At least for some time, it's been reports of kidnappings, killings, abductions. But at least to the glory of God, we can at least celebrate this one, and we're hoping that other captives who are with these kidnappers would also be released. I think there's a collective effort now by the government to get captives out of these kidnappers and all of that. Now 5 abducted Abuja sisters have regained freedom. 5 of the 6 sisters of the Al-Qadiria family. We are praying for the Ekiti family, Ariyo family.
Yeah.
We are still praying for the Ariyo family to also get released. Unfortunately, their first daughter has been killed, just like the Kadiria family. But now they've been released and they're back home. I think the family members shared the news with the media. Although the Punch newspaper reported yesterday that this morning that they are not sure whether this was as a result of the efforts of the security operatives,
or they pay for
or ransom was paid. But that's the story of Nigeria at this time. We moved from the insurgency in the northeast. Now we have the issue of banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling. People ransacking villages. It's all sad tales. There's no way you look at it. The story of Nigeria when it comes to security is not good at all. I'm going to start with you, Nuruddin Adegbenro. What can we do? Well, what is the option for us? There are suggestions on the table already. People are saying long term. Yes, short term, government can make all of these efforts, go after these kidnappers, get captives released and all of that. Short term. But on the long term, how do we? Because again, suggestions, Afenifere has said it, the Middle Belt Forum has said it, the Arewa Consultative Forum have said it. All they are saying is that, look, the current policing system and security system is not working and may not work, and they are calling for restructuring. What do you think we can do? Because if you look at the Constitution, Nuruddin Adegbenro, Section 14(2)(b) of the Constitution is clear that, look, the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government.
Yeah.
Shall be.
It's not enforceable. It's not enforceable.
We can't sue government for it. But we can demand that they do that, because that's what the Constitution says. Yeah. That, look, the primary purpose of government is the security of lives and property of the people. But what do we?
No.
Yes, everything comes.
You are wrong.
Okay, I'm going to come with you. Just hang in there by Sarkozy. I'm going to get to you.
I'm hanging in. You are wrong.
Okay, I'm coming. So, but Nuruddin, how can we get out of this terrible situation?
Firstly, I need to really commiserate with the family
of the Kadirias and Arios
and other people
that we don't even know about here.
Those ones are just minor. What of the one in Kaduna? What of the one in Lagos? What of the one in Ogun? What of those students of Gateway Polytechnic? What of those people at the student at Ijagun?
I think some NYSC.
Yes, now
some of them are still.
Are you going to talk of the one of Oshu? Are you going to go to those people that pass through Iswa? What of those people that have been kidnapped along Okene Lokoja Road? And not together. Don't let us talk about Southeast. Those one
it's a peculiar case on it.
What of Kaduna Road? What of Abuja Kaduna and all other roads? I think it is very, very important now. My fear is just that when we have a general that fought a war
as president
for 8 years, and this thing cannot be resolved. See, a bloody civilian, the way they normally put it, that we now have as a president will do that. But I think commander-in-chief of armed forces is commander-in-chief of armed forces. Now, the first thing there is this, Fuhad. The president must see it as a big problem. That is the first thing. If president sees it as a big problem, then we are moving forward. But if president and the presidency and those people around him does not see it as a big problem, then automatically we are not moving anywhere. Then secondly, we have said it over time, with the kind of police system that we have,
yes,
and it's going to be very, very difficult for us to tame anything, talk less of kidnapping, whatever. Let me use Agege as an example. I did the analysis for somebody and I said it's very important that every street, two streets, must have security personnel they are going to be paying for, or else your life is in danger. In Agege, we have Alaba police station.
Okay.
We have Isokoko police station. We have Pen Cinema Chinese Road police station. And we have Abatio police station. We have Okoba. Then Elere as a divisional headquarters. All within the Agege. Because people don't know that Abatio police station at Ijayo Jokoro also supervise part of the area of Agege, Oriri Agege. I now said that in each police station, I stand to be corrected. There is no police station apart from Elere that can boast of regular 50 police officers, and we are talking about the community where they are covering that is over 800,000 people. So how did you want to use 50 people? Let's add those people that will be coming, dropping some certain things with them. 100. Can they safeguard those kind of people?
People are as close to 1 million.
So now it is important that the government needs to sit down. The area of saying residual list of power, concurrent list of power, exclusive list of power, we don't need it now. How Nigerians are going to be secured now with this constable they are having now? That is what they're supposed to use as a template. Now we have police stations. Now make sure that all those constables are working in their area. That one is one. They are working in their area. If it's Lagos State, those constables from Lagos State origin, they should stay in Lagos State and they should stay in their own area.
At least for now.
For now. Then the second one is this: you now talk to the state government. All those security votes that you are wasting.
Governors are just
and you now go and buy some vehicles, Ilio buses, whatever, once in 4 years, and you said you are spent part of the security votes that you are collecting every month.
Yes, the monthly security.
Some is 350 million, some 450 million, 500 million every month. So this is now time where, okay, let us have a security outfit. That is why federal government needs to close his eyes and drop that kind of a power so that they can have residual. It's still going to be from the IG, but another structure
at the state level.
At the state level. So that all those constables, they are going to be intended with that. Instead of have commissioner of police, maybe whatever, you have a lower one that will be kind of the constables
that can run that.
That can run that. What they just need to do, they will do intelligence gathering for you. All those little whatever, they will pack it and send it up to the commissioner of police at that federal level and move like that. Then also, it is a high time that every community, they should make it that they must have a vigilante group that they must be well profiled, they must be well documented. They should see it as a work, not that somebody that is a tailor and is still a vigilante. No, he's going to do it as a full-time job
and be well paid
too. So in that case, what it means is this: because they are vigilante, they are member of the community, they have a lot of things to do within the money,
they can gather intelligence.
They can get intelligence, and also they can also tame some crime, because when we're talking about, they are going to be at different joints, they are going to be at the clubs within their community. They can integrate easily, and they'll be able to be bringing the information. With that, if you escape vigilante, you cannot escape the constabularies or constables,
which are at the state level.
At the state level, down to the normal police, which is going to have the commissioner of police, down to the AIG and DIG. At that particular level, what we've just done is that we are bringing policing down
to the
community. If we can do that, then our police need to get the assurance from the people. We don't want to see a situation in which somebody will be attacked. You go to the police station, they have you to pay 20,000 naira before they can get you a biro. All those one must be eradicated. If they can get the confidence of the people, I'm very, very sure Nigerians are ready to support them to able to fight all this
insecurity. All right, Barrister Curtis, I'm going to get your contribution by first taking you back to what the Constitution say. The section 14 is quite clear. Section 14(2)(b). Again, we need to reiterate that look, the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. I think it's clear enough. But you said it's not true. Yes.
For two reasons. One, that section is part of what we call the fundamental directive and objective principle of state policy.
Yes.
They tell you it's only an aspirational goal. It does not create a mandatory duty on their part. So that's why I say it's not true, because you see by their attitude, right? By their attitude is beginning to show that what is unwritten is actually what is real, which is that the primary purpose of government shall be the security of those in power and their families.
which is the unwritten part of the constitution.
Which is the unwritten, because when you look at it, from President Muhammadu Buhari up until now, do you know of any minister that has been kidnapped in the country?
None.
And they are well protected.
So ask yourself why. Do you know of any of their children that have been? You see, the reality is this. I think I told this story about the last APC primaries in Abuja.
Yes.
That in one of the meetings that I attended at the secretariat of the party, there were about 13 governors of the party that came there to hash out some issues before the party congress.
I remember the story. And the number of policemen that followed them.
And randomly, I counted up to 800 mobile policemen.
To these 13 governors?
Yes. And I asked myself, because you see all their convoy, when they came in their convoys, you understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
And I was amused by the sight and the scene. And I'm saying to myself, how many policemen that belongs to the police mobile force do we have in the country that this number will be here alone?
Attached to politicians. Yeah.
For this number, for this number of governors. We are not talking about ministers. We are not talking about the president. We are not talking about the vice president. We are not talking about security chiefs. We are not talking about governors. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
So when Nuruddin talks about a police station not having up to 15 personnel around the big vast area like Abuja, you understand why?
They are attached to VIPs.
Because some of them are even guiding supermarkets.
Yes.
Belonging to the wives of the VIPs.
Microfinance bank use.
We have seen some of them carry handbags
for VIPs.
For the wives of their excellencies. So these are the issues, okay? And that is why, even if they tell you from now to tomorrow that the security of life and property is the primary purpose of government.
It's just in theory.
That's in theory. In practice, the opposite is the case. Now, let me bring it down to our doorsteps. Just imagine you are an Ario. Or the father.
The Kadiriya family.
Yes. That was kidnapped in Abuja. And then, because you couldn't raise the ransom, they started killing the kids one after the other. Just imagine how you will feel. Even me, who is thousands of miles away, I was traumatized. Because I just imagined that it was me. Number two, the involvement of the former Minister of Communications
Pantami
in raising some of the ransom money. Recall that the name that was introduced by this man as a minister,
for security,
one of the things we were told was to avoid things like this. Unfortunately, we do not have, and I do respect men of the armed forces. I know that they are doing a very difficult job. But you see, they cannot do jobs better than they are allowed to do. In the modern world, if somebody makes a phone call from a location to another, right, location can be traced.
Yes. Immediately.
Location can be traced. These guys have the guts to kill and deposit the bodies in their ransom. In public.
Okay, I think we're struggling to hear by Can you still hear us? Oh, okay. I think we're hello, by Sakoti, can you hear us? Okay, I think we're okay. All right, we'll try and see how to reconnect back to Barrister Curtis, but no reason. The part where Barrister Curtis said, "Look, let's just bring it down home. Let's look at ourselves." And God forbid, be in the situation of the Arios as we speak.
It's even high that was just kidnapped for not up to 24 hours. I know how it feels. The same Lagos Ibadan Expressway on a very, very good Friday from
it has to be a bad Friday.
In fact, a WDC that I have to put on native. I have a meeting at Alausa before I could say Jack Robinson, and that was the kind of trauma. Anytime I hear people being kidnapped, it's always
hello, Barrister.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, we had a little bit of disruption. So I want you to conclude your thoughts so that Because I can see the line is buzzing, so that we can open our phone lines and take contribution from our listeners.
I was saying that right now Abuja has been declared as the most dangerous city in Nigeria.
Unfortunately, that's the Federal Capital Territory.
According to that article, it is so because unlike in other cities in Nigeria, where majority of the kidnappings are happening on the roads, in Abuja now, the kidnappers, they are going into homes, invading estates to capture people, and that is the seat of government. And if they can so randomly, recklessly and carelessly invade the capital city of the country, something is deeply wrong with the system that we are running. It means that there's a failure of intelligence and there's a failure of action. And you know, so even the families that have been released, we do not know why and how they were released. Did they pay ransom?
Up to the reports
before they were released?
Nothing confirmed. Yes, the reports we have, nothing confirmed yet.
You understand? So I think that the president must rally his troop. And when I say his troop, I'm talking about everybody in government, governors and all of that. Then my final point on this issue, right?
Yes.
You say that the police system that we run in Nigeria is inadequate.
There are calls that we need to restructure the policing system completely.
I agree with you, but it will not be restructured.
Oh, okay. You think so?
Let me tell you what. You know, everybody shouts about restructuring, but once they get to the presidency and see how powerful it is, they don't want to whittle down the power. We know, we've been talking about this. Don't forget that the current president was one of the early advocates in this republic
of true federalism and restructuring. Yes.
But I can tell you, he will not implement it.
You think so?
Write it down. I say so. Write it down. He will not. So that is it. And we know. Look at it. You know, when you talk about federalism in Nigeria, then they will tell you it's true federalism or not true federalism. You know that in other parts of the world, policing has been atomized to even cities.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the United States here, you have the state police. Of course, the federal police is the FBI.
FBI, yes.
Like we have in Nigeria. Now, but at the state level, you have state police. You have county police,
which is at the local government,
and then which is the local government, and then you have the city police. So where there is a criminal activity or a threat to security, you are likely to see 3 sets of police team arrive the place
working on the same thing. Yeah.
You see state police, county police, city police, all of them coordinated. But in our own country, we are even struggling with state police, not to talk about city police. And yet the governors will tell you, in true federalism, local government is not part of the system. The same governors will go to Abuja to share money in a true federal state.
And collect local government money.
Where is it in the world that state go to share money at the capital in a true federal system? That's it.
All right. Thank you so much. Because again, we just need to open the phone lines to take contributions from our listeners. I can see a lot of messages are already dropping on our Facebook platform. You can still drop your messages, and of course, I think it's just time to open up the phone line. Thank you so much, Barrister Curtis Adigba, for finding time to be a part of the show. Okay. Well, we may be struggling to put you on the phone line and also take calls.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
So enjoy the rest of the day.
God bless you, sir. God bless you for the commitment.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Yes. I know he wants to be a part of the show, but again, our technology has that limitation. We can only take calls now. All right, Nuri, thank you so much for the contribution. I think we just have to open the phone lines now. 09136000410. 09136000410 is the number to call now. And then, of course, like I said, we're streaming the show live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can also drop your comments and contributions on our Facebook platform. 09136000410. 09136000410. I think yes, we can see your call. Just people just want to be a part of the show, but do you also think that the president will be a very long time with state policing? Okay, I think we can take the calls now. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Saheed.
Yeah, good evening.
I'm Sandy.
Yes, from Abuja. How are you doing? How is Abuja this evening?
Abuja is quiet, only that I'm not happy with the saddest moment in time.
Yeah.
Just because of all what you have probably brought this evening, especially the issue of insecurity. We cannot continue like this. Well, I'm greeting you within as well, and
I greet you too,
sir. Good morning. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
You see, you have offered alternatives. So many people have been talking about state policing, but I will continue to admire people that are probably having this understanding to have this state police, because it will help us, and then we can go a lot to probably redress issues like corruption and security purposes that we are talking about. You see, I think for me, if we must be able to see a kind of leader that will leave much to be desired, having some courage to deal with fears. Who are the cabals? And at least we have you, a Democrat, as a leader now. I think nothing should intimidate you. Nobody should probably come with that long, what do you call it? All this long time process that there's a cabal somewhere that are doing this and that. You have the mandate of the people, which I think it is true. If it is not true, tell us that you don't have our mandate. Then don't do anything. But you must be able to tackle this issue of insecurity for us.
We're looking at two issues: insecurity, corruption today.
Yes. Yeah. This insecurity matters most to me than this corruption. They have told us they can't do anything. Look at all those people they are still parading in the position of authority. Look at somebody stole 551 billion. You didn't mention that person, the person's name. And maybe you didn't read it in the news.
Who is the person?
I forgot the name. You can still take another newspaper and read through all these.
There are many cases you can't list all the corruption.
There is 431 million, there is 100 million, this and that.
All right.
You can imagine. In fact, I don't know, maybe Nigerians we can't confront.
God bless you. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, this is Barrister Peter Oku.
Oh, okay. Good evening, Barrister Peter. How are you doing, sir?
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine, very fine, sir.
Okay. God bless you guys. You are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. My contribution is on the issue you guys are discussing in the studio.
Please go ahead, sir.
Relating to provisions in the Constitution.
Yes.
Just two things I want to mention. One is the issue of constitutional provision that the primary purpose of government is to protect the life and property of the people.
Yes.
Yes. That is true. That is the right position, the correct position of the Constitution. You see, for us to have the impression that it's just a provision, and that nothing the government has not
doing it.
Yes. You see, it is not the fault of the government. It is our fault, the fault of the people. Because one thing I am so proud of the late Ganifa Emi is that he has a chance of trying the law, of challenging the law. It does not wait for the government to do the law, because most of the laws in the Constitution are violated more by the government than by anybody. So nobody has challenged the government. If the Constitution said that the primary purpose of government is to protect life and property, the government is not doing that. That does not tolerate the government from being held liable. That nobody, including myself, has ever gone to court to sue the government when citizens are kidnapped. So you are supposed to sue the government that they are not obeying the constitution. And yet people are kidnapped and they are asked to pay millions.
All right.
And they are forced to go.
Thank you, Barrister Peter. Good evening, sir. Yes, sir. You may have to shift your position a bit. We are struggling to hear you. Hello, good evening, sir. Okay, I think you'll have to call us. You have to find a way to call the line again. 09136000410. 09136000410. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
This is your program. I'm actually from Abuja.
Okay, go on, sir.
Yes, there's this I heard about all the cases that EFCC is actually pursuing.
You want to revive those cases? Yes.
No, yes. There's one thing I see, and I suppose should be a solution to, like you rightly highlighted in your program. There's one thing I think EFCC should. Because there are so many. There's no solution to this than EFCC calling all these supposed alleged criminals, so to use that name, calling them, asking them to release if 3/4 of all money stolen. There's nothing they can do.
So you are saying that they should enter a deal with them? Just play back again. Okay.
You enter a deal, let them return the money to Nigerian people, and then let us move on. At least from the secondly, Barrister Curtis mentioned something that actually happened in the UK. He said there's a law whereby you have to declare what it is you have about your wealth.
Yes.
If these two things should happen, I feel we can start from there. That is my own contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Where you have to explain how you got the money.
Yes.
The burden of proof is on you, not the the institution again. Well, we hope that we can begin to look at some of things like that. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Yeah, good evening. Good evening, sir.
From Malaba.
Yes, please go on, Mr. Damilola.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah. Honestly, you guys are doing a very great job. The thing is just that if you look at this continent here, in fact, we have gone far in corruption and to look back. I'm telling you, only God can return us to our original stage. We have gone far. Where do we go to start? Where is Ibrahim Magu? The EFCC came on that time. What about Malami? What about the former general? What about Abakiyari? A lot of people. In fact, if we want to list them, but we can't bring them to book. We have to bring them to board. You cannot contain their news. Honestly, the thing is just that EFCC is actually ready. They need to look into how they are being actually appointed. Like Mr. Olu actually said, if we don't review that process, there's no way. If they actually come into political means, they can't fight anything. They will always be biased in all the struggle. And the thing is just that the IG, when he came in that time, he was jumping up and down. The thing is just that they need to work together. EFCC cannot do all that. Everybody needs to that. All has to be on deck. If we want to fight this thing, other countries of the world, they have that naturality to see. But because of the law there, we will not allow them to do it. Right there, right here, we can do it. We have to start from the constitution first. Let's roll it away. This person, like you say, it cannot help.
All right.
We need to go back to previous one. And finally, on security, we have a long way to go. All of us need to sit down and fight this together. Otherwise, we are only joking.
Thank you, Mr. I will take this call and then we'll now read messages on Facebook. Hello, good evening. Hello? Hello, good evening. Okay, we lost that. Hello, good evening.
Thank God that you have Mr. Fuhad. Tunde to come back from Akowanjo.
Okay, Mr. Tunde.
I monitor you a lot, I'm your fans, but because of the work that keep it up. My barrister in the house, keep it up. This I know you. I don't know you by face, but I monitor you 247. In Galaxy, when you are doing a lot of security programs. That's it. Mr. Fuhad, let me tell you something. I want to talk about security.
Yes.
You know what happened in Ibadan? I'm not happy with what happened in Ibadan. I'm not talking about the government because I will talk. I never believe in any any politician. But what I want you to do now is that we need to work together now. Monitor each other very well. If I have power, I be a governor in your state, I will burn that house. The man that get out, he never have life in the battle. Let me tell you something. What?
The house has been burned down now.
I know.
The house again.
But no, normally when they are doing the rotation, a lot of people that their house burned, they will come out. Yes. Let me tell you something. It's not for the police, for the navy, for everything. It's for all of us. The way Nigeria is going now, we need to monitor ourselves. Forget about policing or no policing. And what the landlord supposed to do now is that let us all meet it together. Let us know everybody that they each house, each street now. Let us monitor ourselves. I want to see where they are coming. But to the root all these bandits, all these bad people are coming now. In Lagos now. You know, Lagos now, where they now, they get everywhere now. I want everybody, all the security, I need the house landlord now to get the security for the gate. Look the gate. Where are you going now?
Thank you. All right, thank you. I think we got. He's talking more about community effort, people getting together to be a part of the security situation in the country. All right, let's read the messages on Facebook. We have Prince Shola Shodeke. We're saying hello to us. Thank you so much, Prince Shola Shodeke. We have Frederick Chika Nabu. We're saying, what's up to you guys in the studio? Nice job. Thank you so much. We have Joseph Schockenstein. We're saying, I believe people in power have certain level of immunity and feasible fair hearing at EFCC, and that corruption is not a badge of honor. Okay, thank you so much. We have Owundu Austin. We're saying, good evening, Fuhad and the guests. EFCC should bring back the whistleblower policy. Okay, well, it's still there. It's not.
But it's not lucrative like this.
I think people are not, but I think it's still there. People can still, blow the whistle if they see anything.
Yes.
Like the governor of Oyo says, if you see something, say something. All right. We also we need special courts to try corruption cases. This has been the position of Prince Wise. Yes. That when it comes to corruption, we just need to set up a special court so that this thing can be done, very fast. And he also said corruption cases should not last more than 3 years. Where the EFCC chairman is saying 5 years maximum from High Court to the Supreme Court. And law against unexplained wealth should be enacted by the National Assembly. Who's going to bail the cat?
The same people that
the law will catch. and it's a very beautiful law, really.
Yes.
You have a wealth, you have to explain it. And you know the thing about that law in the UK? You can't explain your source of wealth. They forfeit
it. Yeah, you forfeit it.
And that's the same law that is now being applied to try designing, at least
yes.
Because you just have to explain where you got the money.
You forfeit it.
And then we need to copy Chinese ways of fighting corruption.
Now we have a lot of people to kill.
Like our people in the street will say that one. You go far.
You go far.
Thank you so much, Uwondo Austin, for that contribution. We have Temple the Prince. Good evening, Mr. Fuad and other gentlemen around the political round table. Nice topics this evening. My take tonight is the position of the new EFCC chairman. In line with what Barrister Curtis said at the beginning of the show, EFCC need to urgently start working with the media houses for constant and continuous orientation against corruption. Mr. Fuad, what we saw before now, what we are currently seeing is going to be the child's play compared to what the future holds if something is not done urgently. That's Temple from Arekpo, Ogun State. Abdurrafiu Alabalakpe says, congratulations to the family of the abductees, and also congratulations to those people who gained their freedom today. Look, guys, it's necessary this time around to have the state, community, and street policing. This is the only way to curb the menace of insecurity. I want to ask all of you in the studio this: should this current conventional policing structure remain and set up the state policing structure from them, or should we dismantle it and get fresh police? It's difficult. You can't have a state without a police.
You have to build on.
You have to build on what you have or restructure what you have. Please, I need convincing answer from each of you. We've answered you. You can't have a state, a policeless state.
As worse as you think police is, you take them off the streets.
After answers, we know what people were doing. So, however, we need security to be localized. Okay, we understand that aspect of the conversation. An issue of EFCC and the revival of ex-governor saga. Look, anyhow they want it to go, let them act fast. EFCC should do what it needs to do and collect back all our stolen commonwealth. Nigeria need money. We are broke, so EFCC should go get our money. We can't afford to borrow outside what we have already done. That's from Alabalape, from Sabo Ijewu Oniba. And we have James Nwanchi Ogbona saying, distinguished Fuad and honorable men, I greet you meritoriously. Mr. Fuad, if you remember, on one of the mainland focus, I asked why former president can't be probed in Nigeria since they are no longer in power. Look at the old Donald Trump facing public trial. Several former prime ministers and former world leaders have been charged with one case or the other. But here in Nigeria, we only probe the officials who work with the president and not having the audacity to invite any of the former presidents for questioning. The only time I would believe we are ready to fight corruption is when the EFCC would have the audacity to invite any former president for interrogation. Why should the president be the one to appoint the FCC boss in the first place? On insecurity, it seems kidnapping is now done every hour. Why the sudden release of some kidnapped victims in Abuja? Are there things we should know? Well, for now, what we know is that they are back home, and I think we should just at least celebrate that. And I think we are still praying for the arrears.
Yes, really, and really all that ones that we don't know about and we know about. We praying that they'll be released from this from captivity. Okay, Prince Shola Shodeke saying good evening very soon. Mark my word, the thing will be politicians will be attaining the status of trillionaires. This will set others running to meet up. We're in one chance. God bless Nigeria. We have Fadare Bumi Osi Moral, who is just saluting us. That's from Ikeja Cantonment in Ikeja. Thank you, Osi Moral. He's asking about our morale. Well, our morale is high, but we're praying that Nigeria gets to that enviable position where we can begin to talk about security for all. We have that Dio that's saying, good evening, crew. I want to give credit to your president. Nigeria is secured, no kidnapping, no bandits, no Boko Haram. There's food, no inflation, free and credible election. INEC and judiciary are doing well. There's light everywhere. Investors staying and clapping. Everybody is. It's a very long one. I think it's just being sarcastic. That's he sent something that we can read. At least.
Thank you so much, Dada, for the consistency and the commitment to always being a part of the conversation. We have Kolawole Kazim saying the solution to the problem of security in Nigeria is the governors to be held responsible for insecurity in their state. I provided to your station facts that the constitution of the country has given the governors the power to control police, yet many of you still misquoted the constitution by saying it is commissioners of police must get order from the I don't know how we are misquoting anything. Kolawole Kazim.
It's on the exclusive list.
It's on the
don't even argue that one.
Look, Kolawole Kazim, you are in this country where the governor of Lagos State went to Magodo. Yes, and the police officer was telling him, I can't report to you.
Sorry, sir, I can't report to you.
We don't need to argue.
Between Rotimi Amechi and the commissioner of police in that particular state.
And he's saying that according to the constitution, the president cannot take over the responsibility of security of any state unless he has declared. Look, you see, the reality is that we are talking about the structure of security. It is still.
Who owns the structure?
Who owns the building? So let's just. I don't think we need to argue that really. And that's why people are talking for still.
If IG want to retrieve all the security operative of the governors, he will retrieve it now.
Kazim, were you not in this country where a governor was kidnapped?
Yes, now.
And all the security details were. Let's not go. Okay, that is still sending messages. He said, okay, it's the same messages. And he said, good evening, you can see the difference between. Okay, he likes talking about the Israelis. All right, thank you so much, Dada. I think we can go back to taking phone call 09136000410 09136000410. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mr.
Yes, good evening. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good evening.
Yes, your name?
Solomon.
Okay, Solomon, you need to speak louder, please.
Okay, it's better now.
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Oh, okay, all right. So, as I was saying, good evening, distinguished guest, Mr. Nuruddin, Mr. Curtis, wherever you in the US actually, and Mr. Folonso is there on this show.
He's not on the show this evening, yes.
Yes. All right. So, quickly, I think Mr. Curtis said something that I think we really need to pay attention to, and if that would be like the only hope we have now as a nation, we should drive that conversation, and that is, if it's difficult getting our money back, when we have our public officials, when they've stole the money, because again, we have a judicial system that, they are able to penetrate. Can we make it difficult for them to get the money in the first place?
Block all the leakages.
Can we just have a president that is committed to ensuring that, I don't know how difficult that task will be, that is he ensures or he oversees every money that is going out of the country, so that at least we can hold the president accountable if anything should go wrong. Can we drive that conversation? And I think that is just my submission tonight. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Well, thank you so much. Again, blocking leakages. You also mentioned
it's very important.
Who's going to bail the
But the problem there is this: Nigeria is a big country. Is he going to look at the account of the governors
or the
local government? Ha.
Well, again, a very big, like he also said, it's going to be a very
it's a big tax.
But again, we just have to
even under his note, his own ministers, are they not the one that is sending money to private accounts
and sharing money? All right. Well, again, I think it's a good one. It's something that we can continue to talk about, how to block leakage, so that we are not running after them when they've already taken.
But they can't steal again.
How we can stop them from having access to the money? But it's a very tough task.
But with all these banks
on YouTube, we have Femi Shobowale. We're saying it's unfortunate that evil is thriving in Nigeria at this rate. How did we get here? I am greatly disturbed. Everyone is disturbed there. Femi Shobowale. This is not the Nigeria I grew up to know. I grew up to know in Nigeria where you can walk all through the night without without any fear. But it's not like that again. It's really very unfortunate. I think we can still swing one or two more calls before we call it a day on the show. Hello, good evening.
Thank you for
his wife.
I've been waiting.
Yeah. All right.
Good evening, sir.
May God bless all of you and bless your management.
Amen, sir.
Every Sunday, we are waiting for you.
Thank you.
Immediately you come up, or if you are sick, we go. Our body go.
Thank you for the loyalty and commitment, Prince White.
Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah.
See, EFCC chairman, the man is ready to work.
He's talking tough.
And then he talks very tough. And we have been hearing from this man, but we can't hear from ICPC. I don't know why. You see, this very man, if one Nigeria support this man, he will work. And we are the problem like this. That is it. You have 2,000 kids. 7 kids. Still pending. That's the problem. If I were the president of this country today, I will those who stole our Commonwealth. Look at former Accountant General, more than 90 billion, 37 billion, that's disaster woman. And they can presently 6 months in office, 500 or something. So all these people now, Mr. President should do something for Nigeria. They need money to fix this country. I have to get the money. It's the problem now. We are going borrowing. Our money is so deep in this hand. How to get it this? Now, EFCC, after thoroughly investigating the next state, is court of law. And that's where the everything stopped. Okay, now, look at those as a senator now. If the case has been just between 2 or 3 years, they would be able to go to Senate to become a senator. But in the case in here, and when you are not found guilty, you can still aspire to any office. That's our problem. Set up the
special court.
Special court. They want 3 years too much. Look at the Mayfield case now. It adjourned to February. After February, they will lock up the case with another confessional cases, husband and wife cases. No, separate all boost. Corruption cases that 20 and 10, appoint just 10 judges to be. We will get our money back from them. And if I'm not guilty, let them go free. Let them go. But if they are culpable, we get our money from them, send them to some years in business, everything get better. Mr. Fuhad.
Thank you so much, Prince White.
God bless you every day.
Thank you, Prince Wise. He has always talked about the special court. He doesn't fail to. Anytime we talk about corruption in Nigeria, he talks about the special court.
And it's ultimate too. If you have to look at it,
it's ultimate. Even the Pastor Olukoyede has said it that look, this idea of having corruption cases for more than 5 years is a problem. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How you doing?
We're fine, sir.
Okay, good. I want to talk about
your name, sir. Your name. Okay, please go on, Mr. Wisdom.
So I want to talk about this corruption matter.
Yes.
The new EFCC chairman is, I think, is a staff, former staff.
Yeah, he works there. He has worked there before. Secretary of the commission.
Okay.
Yes.
So he knows in and out of the
place. Yeah.
What is going on in EFCC now? It's not a corrupt one. Secondly, you don't need all these numbers, telling us all these numbers. We want to see action. We want to see action. We'll be hearing this is happening. Calling on air to call all these names. Nothing is going to happen. I want to ask you a question. Is it easy for a corn to be planted on top of a rock and it grows?
You won't grow where? You don't go grow.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, how do you plant the corn on the rock? I think what you have just said is that we can't fight corruption without an already of corn on the rock. Well, we just continue to have this conversation. We'll continue to set the agenda. What we have done on the show this evening is to look at the issue of insecurity. And if I aggregate the opinion of my analysts and what the callers have said, I think we need to look at the structure of policing and security generally in the country. And I think what by Curtis have said, Nuruddin has also said, we need to look at devolving policing to the state and local level. And by Curtis even said about even streets, yes, what you can call the area by area. Yes. For example, we are in Atoni. There's no reason why Atoni cannot have some form of security arrangement.
You should be able to have from street.
So we have to look at the structure of policing. But by Curtis said something about the fact that look, Mr. President, before he became president, was one of the strongest advocates of state policing, and he's saying that we should put it down that he would never go the way of state policing. We wait to see that
before it was card. Now is the reality. No,
we'll continue to look at and see. And I must say that even beyond the issue of state policing, Afenifere about Padukun has spoken to us on this show, and he said that we've written to him that we need to restructure the country. We need to look at
he reply them now.
He has to reply them with action and doings. Okay. But we'll continue to talk about it. And then the issue of corruption, I don't think it's a hopeless situation. No, really. Because this idea of planting corn on rock just says a hopeless situation.
With this the same civil servants, with this the same of politicians that we have, with this the same police, and we want to really fight corruption.
All right, well, this is where I think at this stage we have to call it a day on Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. We had Barrister Curtis Adigba join us via the phone line. Thank you so much, Nuruddin Adigbe. Your final take? Any last
well, for me, I think it's very, very important that the president should take the issue of security
very seriously.
In fact, this time around, that people in Abuja they are running to Lagos, running to Ogun State is so difficult. A place where is the headquarters of Nigeria. No, he needs to do something quickly.
Well, he has said he will do something. He has met with security chiefs. Even the minister of FCT is also meeting with the security operatives.
At least he can stay in Abuja and not go to.
I'm sure this one now will make him stay there and work instead of focusing on River State. My name is Saheed Fuhad. This is what we call it today. Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. Let's do this again next week.